welcome back to how I've been sewing with little ones for the last 4 years, how I've been getting it done with all of these garments while watching little ones. So I wanted to dive into more on the photography topic that I touched on in the last video. And I want to share with how I've been capturing the photos. I've been doing every single photo that you've seen on my channel, all of the footage, all of the photography. I have learned a lot in the process, and I think that you can do the same. So first off, you do have to invest in some good equipment. Your cell phone is not going to do anywhere near as good of a job as, a fancy camera. That being said, simply having a fancy camera is not the ticket, okay? It's not just like go on Amazon and buy a fancy camera and now you just take these amazing photos. You do need to educate yourself. I highly recommend the book by Tony Northrup. Is that how you say his name? Northrup? He's got a paperback version and a Kindle version, and I read the Kindle version. This was probably around 6 years ago, 7 years ago, long before the kiddos were around. It's $10 on Amazon. It has embedded videos. He breaks it down for people who are not in the photography world. It's completely layman's terms, and he just breaks down all of the the basics of all of the concepts so that you can be like a photographer 101. Like you can do a good job for your family, capturing the memories. Like I said, you don't need to go to, way on pro in order to capture a good photo. You can read this book and look at all the other videos. It's a very easy read and get to a place, at least I've gotten to a place where I'm happy with the photos. And I know they're not pro, but like I said, I'm happy with them. So when it comes to taking pictures of my kiddos, there's a couple things. First off, I try to go in the morning because they tend to be happiest in the morning when they've just woken up and they're, refreshed and all that sort of stuff. So I try to go in the morning. If it happens to be raining in the morning, I will just push it off until another day because it's not worth trying to go the afternoon if it stops raining. I personally think brides are okay. I mean, you get paid for your work, don't you? I try to get paid for my work. I think they're okay, and so I think it also can be part of like an ongoing memory of a fun thing, like we go take photos with, and then afterwards we go get milkshakes or we go do this or whatever it is. So I think brides are okay. When you're actually doing the photos, what I like to tell my kids is to say hi and not smile. We've all seen the kiddos where they're like, smile. And while it's cute, I personally think the hi is a little bit more of an attractive thing. And while they're doing this, you're rapid firing with that shutter and they're going, hi. And so you're catching the smile as they're saying the hi, if that makes sense. That's a little trick of mine. I don't know if it's a trick of mine, but anyway. So that's a little trick if they are not the photo type. So Audrey will pose and she loves it, and we go out and we have a good old time, and there's absolutely no pressure. She asks me, like, can we go take photos? I mean, she wants to put on a big old dress and take photos. Henry, he doesn't despise it, but he's not like that. He's like, I'll let you take my picture. Can I have my card? And that's perfectly fine. If they're not the photo type, what I would recommend is, letting them bring their favorite toys, or just letting them play in a pretty place in a pretty, garment. So maybe you let them have their playtime in the morning instead of it being in the playroom. If you have a playroom, or at your house, instead of it being at your house, you go to a pretty park where there's not that many people, and you lay out a pretty blanket and you put them in the garment and you just capture them. Okay? I think that's perfectly fine. You don't want to make it a bad experience for them. You could even play some music and just have them dance or whatever. You want them to be comfortable because you want to capture them. You don't want to capture the stand there and smile, and you want to capture them. And so if they are the little person who likes to pose, then that is what you're capturing. If they're the little person who likes to play with a car, that's what you're capturing. And you're capturing their little sweet face and where they are with their development, and because their face changes so much and their body change. I mean, they're growing up. They're growing up before your eyes, and you're trying to capture it. That's the goal of this. The goal is not there to make it a miserable experience. So a helper is nice, but it's not necessary, especially if you establish taking photos as part of just like life. You know, maybe like every 2 weeks, every month and a half, whatever, you go and you take some photos. And it doesn't need to be a big ordeal. Like I said, you go to a nearby park that people don't go to very much, or you know, just find a shady area wherever and it's got some flowers in the background or whatever. Like, you just need a clean, shaded space is what I look for. And you just go and you have a fun little time. And particularly if you're okay with involving a bribe in there, you know, your child knows that they go off, you guys have some photos, you have some giggles, you dance a little bit, whatever, you play with the car if you want to, or their favorite toy, and then afterwards your child knows you're going to go back home and have a milkshake, or you're going to have, you know, a lollipop or something like that. And it's a little memory in and of itself is taking photos, and then the photos become a memory. Oh my god, there's so many memories. So then what I recommend when you're actually taking the photos is put your camera on the high speed continuous, because, well, they have a lot of energy. You want a high shutter speed and you want high speed continuous. At least that's what's been working for me, and it's rapid fire, and you basically get 5 million photos and you keep like 100 of them. So the other thing is to keep it fun, and when they express that they're ready to leave, so whether they're old enough to stay. What is it, sweetie?
What are you doing?
I'm talking to the camera. What are you doing?
That's it.
Okay. So whether they're old enough like Audrey, she'll say, "You want to go home?" Like with her birthday dress, we finished at the creek, and she said, "I'm tired." She didn't say I'm tired, but you could tell. And she was like, "Can we go home?" And it was like, that was it. We didn't have another photo. We walked back to the car, and that was done, because why make it a miserable thing? And if they're too young to say that, you know, when the meltdown is coming, just wrap her up. It is better to avoid the meltdown. At least I don't want to associate any negative feelings when they think about my sewing or wearing these garments or having their photo taken. Just wrap it up, go for another day. That, I think, is the best way to do that. You just have to go with the flow when it comes to kids, which includes, if the garment is not 100, this is like a trick of mine, if the garment is not 100% ready, right, it's basically sewn together, but maybe it's missing a button or a hand sewn, you know, the line isn't hand sewn down or whatever, but the opportunity for photography presents itself, I take it. So there's been a number of times, I know I'm like dishing the secrets now, there's been a number of times where my kids don't have buttons in the back, they've got a safety pin or something, and the photography opportunity has presented itself, and I'm like, okay, let's go, grab the safety pin, you know, and it's part of the memory. I remember with Audrey, we were moving out of Savannah, and we hadn't taken, if y'all have been to Savannah, Georgia, you know that there's these beautiful, luscious squares. It's part of the history of Savannah. And I was like, she doesn't have any pictures in historic Savannah. And now we're moving. So amongst all the chaos of moving, I grabbed, I think it was her Easter dress, which didn't have buttons on it at the time, and I put a safety pin. I don't know if I put a safety pin in the back. You can see in some of the photos, like, it's not closed up. But you know what? I have the photos. They're beautiful. I think they're beautiful photos. I cherish them. And it's part of the memory, because I look at those photos and I'm like, yep, the back's not closed up. And I kind of giggle about it. And it's, you know, it's not the point. That wraps it up of how I've been taking photos of my little ones. I hope it is helpful. I have other videos in this Sew Along series. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer them. And as always, I appreciate y'all for watching, and I hope to catch y'all next time.